Hello, my name is Dante Renee, and welcome to the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more. Like tonight's film, 1974's Der Teufel in Miss Jonas, otherwise known as translated The Devil in Miss Jonas. Now, this is a double feature Blu-ray of the Erwin Dietrich collection. We're looking at the first film here. That one right there, The Devil in Miss Jonas. This is a Miss Jonas double feature, region-free German Blu-ray, got from diabolicdvd.com. I ordered this a little while ago, and sometimes it takes a little while to get them because they actually are back ordered and need to come. And they're all shipped foreign. These region-free Blu-rays. The Devil in Miss Jonas. Now, I've never seen The Devil and Miss Jones, the American adult feature, but obviously we're playing off of that in some form or fashion with this 1974 film. Now, this 1974 film is a movie that I never heard of, had no idea what it was. There's very limited information on it, but it's part of the Erwin C. Dietrich collection. And it looks like it was produced by him, possibly directed by him. And actually, the interesting thing is that actually there are two films, and I'm going to be looking at the second film very soon on this YouTube page. There are actually two films, and it does look like he uses an alias in this particular film of Michael Thomas as director, which he has used in some of his other films as well. So we're going to get into this film. I have some notes written right above me here. The Devil and Miss Jonas, 1974, Erwin C. Dietrich, or aka Michael Thomas. So let's go right into it here. This is a film that deals with a woman's death, her eternity, her sexual adventures on Earth, the afterlife, second chances. There's a weird nightmare, horror, sex-free vibe to the film. Long sexual scenes to take you out there, long and in a way that really kind of enter into your brain and into your blood. There are themes in this film of hell, sex and sin, sex and love, the devil, possession, and alternate definitions of possession in relation to sexuality, theology, time, the element of certain people being made for sex more than others, the role of sex. This movie plays with time, not certain the actual times of certain scenes in this film. You'll be following the story of the Devil and Miss Jonas, and then all of a sudden you feel lost. You feel lost in time. You feel like you're not exactly sure where you are, what time scheme you're in relation to the storyline of the afterlife and the earthly life. So let's get into this movie. First and foremost, we're going to look at the music. The music in this film, we have jazz, guitar, and orchestra. We have Middle Eastern music. We have percussive, percussion music based solely on percussion, which was actually a pretty popular thing in the 70s, by the way. There were whole albums released with percussion, like a band called Niagara. You can look them up on twoheadeddog.com. That's where I get a lot of my vinyl, actually. For percussive music, exotic music, playful, dramatic, orchestrated music. The main theme of this film, which kind of has a jazzy type of vibe to it, exotic type of vibe, gets played throughout the entire film. It gets repeated throughout the entire film. There's a weird animal sound on repeat in this particular film as well, and I can't exactly place what in the world it is, but there's a weird animal sound. There's moaning in the film and tons of sex, and the music also goes scary weird, also with some very dark and bizarre sounds. Especially if you have your volume turned up, you will definitely hear them come out of nowhere, especially in context with the rest of the music that I just mentioned in this film. In terms of the cinematography and the style, we have slow motion. We have point of view shots. Yes, shots from the top of a scene, from the bottom of a scene. We have interesting fades. We have interesting uses of mirrors in this particular film. It sometimes I sound like I'm a broken record with all the uses of mirrors in the sexploitation films that I review on this YouTube page, from Franco to now Tinto Brass to Erwin C. Dietrich, but it is the truth. Very interesting uses of mirrors in regards to a particular sex scene, a use of a mirror that I've never quite seen used in this particular way before. That's all I'm going to say. Mesh covering over the camera. Okay, so shooting through something in a sex scene. And we also have a healthy dose of gothic fog in this movie. You know, we have some really gothic atmosphere in this film, too. Some really kind of 70s occult, horrific atmosphere in this particular film as well. Something I've never seen in an Erwin C. Dietrich film thus far. His films tend to be pretty damn light. This particular film has the lightness, but it also has some real strong evil costumes and evil atmosphere and some very foreboding, demonic, occultish type of vibe. In terms of some different things that happen in this film, we're going to talk about, first off, there's a bathtub soap scene in this film that is one of the wildest bathtub scenes I think I've ever seen in cinema. It is just, it's very erotic, it's very sexual, and it's filled with soap a-poppin'. Yes, that's all I'm going to say there. We have wet rain boobs in the film. We have masturbation. We have simulated sex. And the lead character, Krista Free, she is pretty much completely naked for the entirety of the film. There's wild humping in this movie. There are long sex scenes in this film. This is a film that is soft core, yet there are shots with the legs spread open and fingers a-rubbing on the vagina. Yet the sex, other than that, seems simulated in the soft core realm. But there are some shots in here and some predominantly masturbation sequences that are pretty explicit. We have some very interesting masks in this film. I mentioned some occultish types of vibes, but we have some very interesting masks in this film. Very tribal, evil, weird, hellish types of stuff. Witch type stuff involving the woods and sex in the woods with these people in the masks. Very interesting stuff. We have rain in this film. We have thunder. We have gothic meeting erotic sexploitation. Now that is an interesting little mix there. And we even have torture sequences in this particular film. This is a very, very, very strange type of film, especially for Erwin C. Dietrich, from what I've seen from his large catalog so far and which I've reviewed on this YouTube page so far. It's a film that, and this is the double feature here, and this is put out by Ascot Elite VIP, which puts out all the Erwin C. Dietrich collection and the Ingrid Steger collection and the certain Jess Franco films produced by Erwin C. Dietrich. I see some Erwin C. Dietrich regulars in this film, but Krista Free I've never seen before, other than this Miss Jonas film so far. I know she's been in some other films. The film has a hypnotic, surreal type of vibe to it also, because the sex scenes in the film are the core of the film. They're the bread and the water of the film. And whenever something is expanded upon and it is happening for a longer sequence of time, it has the opportunity to go surreal. It has the opportunity for you to go past your logical mind and to go into your sexual, surreal, and in this case sometimes nightmarish, theological, philosophical elements. There are some interesting pieces of dialogue in this film in regards to the theological, in regards to the afterlife. Very interesting things going on here. You're not always sure of the particular tones of this film, but it's definitely mashing up, as I stated before, a sex film with horror. And in particular, demonic horror. okay, directly. There's some very interesting shots throughout the film, the representation of the devil in the movie. In some form or fashion, the devil's face, the way it comes up, reminded me a bit of The Exorcist in some form or fashion, but the devil's face in The Devil and Miss Jonas, this 1974 film, is part of the fades sometimes, and it's almost a 3D vibe element that surprises you and motions out to you, to the viewer watching, in regards to the storyline. This is Erwin C. Dietrich's The Devil in Miss Jonas. A very, very interesting and sexual and erotic film, and Krista Free being the lead, very sexually attractive. Her breasts are huge, and they're natural and they're real, and it's just something that you don't typically, you don't see that nowadays, folks. Obviously, you know that. And there's also a blonde girl in this particular film who I featured on my Facebook page, who is also, she's my favorite, actually. She's very sexually attractive and very pretty, and they all have great presences. Krista Free being the lead in this particular film, you could see just from the shape of her body, curvaceous and full and ripe and plump, that she would be just a wonderful focal point for a film like this. Thank you so much for watching the Tenru Bizarro YouTube page, where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more, like The Devil in Miss Jonas, 1974. When's the last time you saw a sexploitation film that challenged philosophy and theology at the same time with discussion and sexuality? And there's even some old men and women, and there's definitely a strong vibe, old men with younger women, there's a very strong vibe of free love in the film in regards to theology, sexuality, and hell in the afterlife, and sexuality's connection to the afterlife. Thank you so much, and good night.